In our previous lessons, we talked about the Delhi Sultanate, the Mughal Empire, whose rule extended over huge portions of the Indian subcontinent. But do you think only these pan-regional empires and dynasties ruled the Indian subcontinent? That is to say, is the identity of the subcontinent restricted to the rule of these pan-regional empires only? Most definitely not, because there were many small kingdoms, small empires that ruled in specific regions. Now, when we talk about the rule of different kingdoms and dynasties and empires in small pockets or regions, we have to take into account the meaning of the word region. Now, a region is a geographical unit. That is to say, it is a territorial unit. Now, a region from being a geographical unit becomes a social unit when people start staying in it. Now, when people start staying in any region, they invariably start forming communities. Now, with the formation of communities, they have their own sets of rules, customs, practices that they abide by, that they follow in their everyday lives. And in this way, regions evolve into being social units. Now, when people start forming communities, as we just mentioned, they have their own sets of socio-cultural practices. Now, these practices, together with their ways of living, constitute what we know as culture. But this definition of culture requires more in-depth analysis and discussion on our part so that we can understand how cultures shape different regions and how different regions also shape the cultures. So let us now find out what this concept of culture means in greater detail. When we talk about culture, we have to take into account the two aspects of culture. These two aspects of culture would be the material aspects and the non-material aspects. Now, what do we mean by the material and non-material aspects of culture? So, let us now begin our discussion on the material aspects of culture. Now, when people start staying somewhere and they start forming communities, they eat a specific kind of food. That is, they have certain kinds of food items that they consume in their everyday lives. They also have very specific clothes or attires that they wear. Now, when people start forming communities, they also require houses. So, along with food and clothing, people require shelter. Now, these are things that we can touch, be that the food items we consume, the clothes we wear, or the houses we live in. Now, there are several aspects in our everyday lives that are tangible or that we can touch. These also comprise the vehicles in which we travel from one place to another, the utensils in which we cook our food items, the architectures that we build and construct over times, the places of worship or the sites of religion. So, these are all tangible aspects. That is, these are things that we can touch. And these tangible aspects of our everyday existence are known as the material aspects of culture. So, to put it simply, things that are tangible or things that we can touch constitute the material aspects of culture. So, the food items we consume, the clothes we wear, or the houses we live in, the vehicles in which we commute, all come under the umbrella of material aspects of culture. Now, these material aspects of culture also give a sense of uniqueness or identity to the different communities. Now, let me give you certain examples in this regard. Let us consider food items as examples. Now, the Punjabi community is very famous for their drink called lassi. While on the other hand, the people of Mumbai are very popular and famous for the food they make and consume, that is the pav bhaji. So these are distinct food items that are rooted to different regions. People living in those regions consume these food items. In this regard, let us consider another example, the example of clothing. Now in Bengal, traditionally men wear dhoti Punjabi, while on the other hand in Chennai, that is in the present day Indian state of Tamil Nadu, men traditionally wear lungi. So these are also traditional attires that are exclusive to different regions. So what we can understand from this is that material aspects of culture are exclusive to different regions. Different regions, different communities have separate sets of material aspects of culture. Now, do you think that these material aspects of culture are the only things of importance in our lives? Most definitely not. Suppose a group of people has started staying somewhere and they form a community and they define their own sense of tangible or material aspects of culture. Now, in their everyday life, they would also require certain things which are non-material, which are intangible. But that is not to say that these intangible aspects of culture are not important, because despite the fact that we cannot touch the intangible or non-material aspects of culture, these also give us a sense of uniqueness. These also give us a sense of identity. Now, non-material aspects of culture include things that we cannot touch, as we just discussed. These include laws, religions, the languages we speak, the social customs that we follow in our everyday lives, the different codes of morality, folkways, norms and social modes that also govern our lives, the different rules and regulations that prescribe how we are to conduct ourselves in the public world. So these are things that we cannot touch, but these things have very important influence in our lives as well. So together, the material and the non-material aspects constitute the thing called culture. Now, how is culture of any importance in this discussion? While we began this discussion, we talked about region evolving into a social unit when people start staying there. Now, cultures are also very distinctly regional things. Now, what do I mean by this? Suppose a group of people settle in a region A. They will have their own laws, practices, rules, regulations, religion, languages, and these constitute the non-material aspects of the culture of the people who settle in region A. These people will also have different kinds of houses to live in, different kinds of attires to wear, different kinds of food items to consume, and these constitute the material aspects. Now together, the material and non-material aspects of culture of the people who settle in region A would be very different from that of those people who settle in, suppose, region B. So what we need to understand from this is that cultures are regional. These are exclusive to certain regions. With this in mind, we will now focus our discussion on certain non-material aspects of culture like language, religion, and we will find out how these non-material aspects play a very important role in giving a sense of belongingness and identity to the people who live in that region. So without wasting any time, let us now focus on two non-material aspects of culture, which are language and religion. Now, language constitutes the very foundation of human existence. Without language, no kind of communication is possible. Will you be able to talk to your friend about your school days or about how you went out on a vacation if you did not have this medium of communication known as language? It would not have been possible for you to do so, because it is through language, it is through spoken words that we communicate with different people, and without language, humans will be swept out of existence. Now in medieval period, the Indian subcontinent witnessed the growth of different languages like Persian, Sanskrit, Urdu. But along with that, different regional languages also flourished. And when these regional languages were coming into being, large volumes of literary works were being composed in these regional languages. Now when we talk about languages like Persian, Sanskrit, Urdu, we can understand that these languages have had wider prominence in the Indian subcontinent during medieval times. Along with this, how did regional languages come into being? This is because the regional languages received the patronage of local rulers. Now, why did local rulers extend patronage to regional languages and not these languages which were already in place in the Indian subcontinent? This is because the local rulers wanted their own cultures to thrive. And we have learned that language is a very important non-material aspect of culture, because language gives people a sense of identity. The language I speak in and the language I was born to gives me a sense of belongingness. Likewise, these local rulers wanted their own languages to thrive and flourish and spread among the masses, which is why they extended patronage to regional languages. While we talk about the flourish of regional languages in the Indian subcontinent, we must definitely mention Malayalam. Malayalam was one of the earliest regional languages to be used in official records in the subcontinent. Because prior to this, there were different languages which already had assumed official and wider importance. Against this, Malayalam, being a regional language, got importance and prominence as an official language. But during whose rule did Malayalam thrive as an official language from being a regional language? Malayalam flourished under the Chera rulers of Mahodayapuram. Now, this map shows you the extent of the rule of the Chera rulers. They ruled over a place called Mahodayapuram that is situated in the present day Indian state of Kerala. Just a while ago we discussed that there was certain languages which had already gained prominence in different parts of the subcontinent, and here we are referring to Sanskrit that had widespread influence in the northern part of the subcontinent, and Tamil that had very important position in the southern part of the subcontinent. Now, how did Malayalam flourish against Tamil? Now, when the Chera rulers came to rule over Mahodayapuram, they wanted to make their regional language more prominent and important in this region. Now, against Tamil, they extended patronage to Malayalam. With this, Malayalam now started gaining importance in that region. Now, the people who spoke Malayalam were also very happy with this. This is because prior to this, Malayalam was restricted to being a regional language only. But now, under the patronage of the Chera rulers, Malayalam became the official language of the Chera court. The people who spoke Malayalam also found representation. They also found an important position being attributed to their language. With this, we can understand that the Malayali people found a sense of belonging. They found a sense of identity with Malayalam becoming the official language of the Chera court. And mind you, Malayalam still continues to be the official language of the present day Indian state of Kerala. But how do we get to know about Malayalam? we get to know about Malayalam becoming the official language of the Chera rulers from different inscriptions that were made in this language. And here the most important point to remember would be that Malayalam flourished as an important language against a predominantly important official language that was already in place, and the language was Tamil. Against this, Malayalam now flourished in medieval India. Now, when Malayalam came into being as an important language, several bodies of literary works were being written in this language. Since the 12th century onwards, different kinds of literary works were being composed in Malayalam. Now, firstly, the literary works that were written in Old Malayalam, or when Malayalam was in the process of becoming, these heavily drew upon Sanskritic traditions. Let me give you an example in this regard. This text called Ramacharitam is considered to be one of the oldest texts that was written in Malayalam. This talks about the tale of the Hindu myth Ramayana. From this we can understand that Ramacharitam drew upon Sanskritic traditions, because prior to this, Ramayana, Mahabharata and all these huge Hindu epics were written in Sanskrit. And it is the Sanskrit influence that played upon Malayalam at the earlier stages. Now, Malayalam drew upon Sanskritic traditions as we just understood. Now, there was a distinct school of writing Malayalam which was known as Manipravalam. Now, Manipravalam is a macaronic language. It is a hybrid language that is written in Grantha script, and it combines Sanskrit lexicon with Dravidian syntax. Now, what do these terms script, lexicon and syntax mean? Allow me to give you a very detailed explanation of these terms. Now, when you are to learn a new language, the first thing that you would have to do is to learn the letters of that language. Now, every language is written in a particular way. Every language has a separate set of letters. Now, the letters in which we write a language is known as script. Let me give you certain examples. The Indian language Hindi is written in the Devanagari script. The first letter of the Hindi language is A. It is written as A. On the other hand, the English language is written in Latin script, and the first letter of this language is A. So, can you see how these two are very different from each other? So, this explains that the script of every language will vary. So, this explains the concept of a script. Now, what do you also need to know in order to learn a language? You have already learned the letters. Now, in order to speak in that language or write in that language, you will have to know the words of that language. Every language has a separate set of words, and these words are known as vocabulary or lexicon. So, from this you have also learnt the vocabulary or lexicon of that particular language. Now, how do you communicate with your friend in that language? In order to communicate, you will have to form proper sentences. When you form a grammatically correct sentence, it is known as a syntax. So, in order to learn and speak and write in a language, the three things that you would need to take care of are script, syntax and lexicon. In this way, Manipravalam was written in Grantha script. Its lexicon or vocabulary drew upon Sanskrit, and its syntax was borrowed from Dravidian. So, this is Manipravalam. Now, very literally, The word Manipravalam means diamonds and corals. What do we mean by this? How can a language mean diamonds and corals? This is because Manipravalam was a fusion or a union of Sanskrit and other regional languages. And in this regard, Sanskrit is referred to as the diamond, and it is this diamond or it is this Sanskrit that united with the corals or regional languages to give birth to Manipravalam. Now, from where do we get so much information on Manipravalam? It is from a 14th century text by the name of Lila Tilakam that we get to know about the origins of Manipravalam. Now, Lila Tilakam is a treatise on grammar and poetics, and it discusses the origin of Manipravalam as a union or a mixture of Sanskrit and other regional languages. So from this we have understood how languages play a very important role in shaping the culture of a region. Because when you see your language being represented in a wider space, you will find a sense of belongingness. You will see your own self represented through your language. So language as a non-material aspect of culture plays a very important role in shaping the cultural landscape of any given region. Now let me ask you a question before proceeding with this lesson. Manipravalam originated as a result of the union of this language with several regional languages. And this language was Pali, Prakrit, Sanskrit or English. Will you be able to fill in this blank with the correct answer? Well, the correct answer is Sanskrit. Manipravalam came into being as a union or mixture of Sanskrit with regional languages. Now, can you identify the festival that is being shown here? And can you also name the state which is very famous for this festival? Now, all this while we talked about how language plays a very important role in shaping the culture of any region. Now, language is not the only non-material aspect of culture, as we have already discussed. There are several other non-material aspects of culture, among which a very important one would be religion. Now, religion has always played a very important part in humans' lives since times immemorial. Religions have shaped the codes of morality, the norms, the rules, the regulations of different communities since long back. Religion was and religion still is a very important part of human existence. Now, when we talk about religion, we also have to keep this point in mind that different communities, different regions have their own religions. So, religious traditions also have very important and immense impacts on the culture of a region, because religions are also regional in nature. Now, when we talk about the regional importance of religion, mention must be made of the Jagannatha temple that could be found in Puri. The Jagannatha temple has a sustaining importance in not just the context of Hinduism, but on the entire tradition of Puri that is located in the present day Indian state of Odisha. Now, this Jagannatha temple in Puri has played a major role in shaping Oriya culture and tradition. Because whenever you hear the name of the place Puri, you invariably associate it with the Jagannatha temple. In fact, the Oriya life, their way of living, their moral codes, their lifestyles, their worldview has been shaped by this one Jagannatha temple. So from this you can understand how religion also plays a very important role in giving shape to the cultural landscape of any region. Now let us talk about the regional aspect of the deity in the Jagannatha temple. During ancient and medieval times, many temples were constructed in different parts of the Indian subcontinent, and in most of these temples the deities were made of stone. But if you visit the Jagannatha temple of Puri at some point of time, you will find that the deities are made of wood in this temple. Why is it so? Because earlier on, Jagannatha was worshipped as a tribal god. And as a tribal god, his deity or his idol was made of wood. Then Jagannatha was later identified as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Though Jagannatha entered the mainstream religion and became worshipped as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, the tradition of making his idol or making his deity with wood still continues even today. So this is the regional aspect of the Jagannatha temple. Now the Ganga dynasty ruled over the region that is now situated in the present day Indian state of Odisha. The Ganga rulers recognized Lord Jagannatha as the patron deity of their royal family. Now what was the result of this? The Ganga rulers understood the importance of Lord Vishnu in the context of Hinduism. Lord Vishnu is considered one of the three principal gods of Hinduism, who are Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva. Now Jagannatha was an incarnation of Lord Vishnu as people had understood. To this end, the Ganga king Anantavarman now constructed a temple for Lord Purushottama Jagannath at Puri. Now this is the Jagannatha temple that is now situated in Puri. Now which gods are worshipped in this temple? As in, which are the principal deities of the Jagannatha temple? In this temple, Lords Jagannatha, Lord Balabhadra and Lord Subhadra are worshipped. Now later on, a powerful Ganga monarch by the name of Ananga Bhima III dedicated his kingdom to Lord Jagannatha in 1230. And while he did so, he now proclaimed himself as the deputy of the Lord. Now try to understand this. In ancient and medieval times, there was a practice of proclaiming oneself as the deputy or the messenger of God. Now only the monarchs and the kings could do this. Likewise, the Ganga monarch Ananga Bhima III also did so. Now while he did so, he wanted to make sure that he became more important to the people he ruled. So in this way, we can understand how different rulers and monarchs often used religion as a medium to further strengthen their authority and their power. Now here you can see an illustration of a tradition that was initiated during this time. Now after Ananga Bhima III proclaimed himself as the deputy of the Lord, he began this tradition. Now on the day of Rath Yatra, which is the most popular and holy festival of the Jagannatha temple, the ruler or the monarch sweeps the floor with a golden broom. Now while he does so, he actually makes the path on which the Rath or the chariot would go clean, because he wanted to show himself as a deputy or messenger of God, and as a messenger of God, he cleaned the street on which God's chariot would go. So this is a practice that is still continuing even today. Now the Jagannatha temple has had a sustaining importance in the culture of Odisha, because its importance is not just restricted to the religious sphere alone. its importance extends to the social, political, cultural and spiritual realms as well. The Jagannatha temple and Lord Jagannatha are the principal deities who are worshipped not just by the people of Puri. They are worshipped by the people of Odisha. The people of Odisha offer utmost devotion to these deities. They almost commit their lives to Lord Jagannatha. So this now tells us about the very important position that the Jagannatha temple has in the socio-political cultural lives of the people who live in the present day Indian state of Odisha. Now what was the result of this? As in, when the Jagannatha temple became so important in people's lives, what happened as a result of this? Now, when the Jagannatha temple and Lord Jagannatha became so important in the lives of the people of Odisha and Puri, different rulers and invaders from other parts of the subcontinent came to conquer the temple itself. When the Mughals, the Marathas or even the English East India Company came to conquer Odisha, they attempted to gain control over the temple. Now try to understand this. These people wanted to gain control over the temple in order to make themselves more influential in the lives of the people who lived in Odisha. Now this practice was also very prevalent in medieval Indian subcontinent. Whenever any ruler, any king invaded any region, they wanted to make sure that they controlled the most important and prominent religious sites of those places. Now religions are intricately rooted in the cultural and social lives of people. Now if these rulers and monarchs or even the English East India Company managed to gain control over the Jagannatha temple, they would have more influence, more authority, more power over those people who believed and worshipped Lord Jagannatha. And in this way, they used religion as a medium to make themselves more popular, more recognized and more influential in the eyes of the people. This now brings us to an end of our discussion on the making of regional cultures, and in this lesson we focused on language and religion to be specific. Firstly, we began by talking about the material and non-material aspects of culture and how these play a major role in shaping human lives, how these play in giving different communities their identity, a sense of belongingness. From there we went on to discussing about two non-material aspects of culture, which are language and religion. Language plays a very important role in giving people a sense of identity, because it is through language that people communicate, and in the absence of a language people will not have a sense of identity. Because if I do not have a language that I feel rooted to, how will I get a sense of identity and purpose? So in this way, languages shape regional cultures. Likewise, religions also play a crucial role in shaping regional cultures. This is because human lives are intricately tied with religions. Human lives, ideals, values, aspirations, codes of morality, laws, practices are governed by religions in ways more than one. And it is for this reason that religion has a sustaining and a long-lasting impact in shaping the culture of any region. In a subsequent lesson, we will discuss how another non-material aspect of culture also plays a very crucial role in giving people or in giving a community, a region, a sense of identity. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.